It's wild how almost every available piece of public information seems to point in one direction, but the reality may be in the other. Because that is what appears to have happened in the case of Mica Miller, which we covered on Monday. And to briefly recap, her husband, John Paul Miller, who's a pastor in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, announced her parents' suicide at the end of a sermon.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. Yeah.
But just about nobody who talked about this publicly believed him. And that's because seemingly so many signs pointed to him having something to do with her death. From the police declining to release her official cause of death and continuing to investigate what happened to her, to claims from her friends and family that she had been making normal routine plans the whole week before she died and even texted them the night before, to revelations that she had filed for divorce back in October and filed 3 times for court-ordered separation and support from her husband, with the last one coming just days before she died. She also filed for a restraining order against her husband. There were also social media posts that she made seeming to suggest that she was in a dangerous and abusive marriage. There were also police reports revealing that she believed the person who slashed her tires was a redacted suspect who had a history of doing similar things to her. There were also statements in those same reports where she believed she was being followed, that the suspect was harassing her, that she kept getting unknown calls and texts. The mechanics found a tracking device on her car, that she was afraid for her life. There was also a statement from her sister claiming Mica said, "If I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not me, it was JP," right? John Paul. All of which is why Mica's friends, family, hundreds of supporters from the community, the media, pretty much everyone thought there was more to the story. But now, according to the county medical examiner and sheriff's deputies, she did take her own life, with the deputies saying John Paul wasn't even in the county on the day Mica died. Right? Apparently, he was at an athletic event in Charleston, and that morning, video captured Mica obtaining the means to take her own life, which I can't get into the details on because YouTube will then suppress this video. But also, we've now learned that afternoon, right before she died, she called 911 and told them what she was going to do. And so with all of that, it now seems clear-cut, but still some of Mica's friends are skeptical. With, for example, Tim Carter telling News Nation he has a gut feeling she didn't take her own life and saying, "I don't believe it for a minute." As well as Alicia Young telling Fox News, "It just makes me so mad. I don't believe it's over. I believe more stuff will come out. It always does." And adding, what pastor gets up in less than 24 hours of his wife's passing to still give a sermon and already has a funeral plan for the following week? Nobody does that. Though notably there, I would say it is possible that both things are true, right? It is possible that Mica took her own life and that John Paul abused her. But if that were the case, even if he didn't go as far as murdering her, that doesn't diminish the harm that he actually could have done to her. Though, of course, with that, John Paul denies those allegations. But with all that said, right, the new information, the case seemingly closed for good, I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts here now?